Gonna do a quick sound check on the embed, and then I'll go ahead and kill sound over there, making sure that we have good sound and video feed today. Looks like Neil's on already. Hey, how you doing, Neil? Just kind of trying to get everything ready for, pardon me, for departure to Nashville here in another couple days. So I still got my video feed going. Hello, in case this is your first time. Whoops. I'm blasting my own sound out here in my ears. Yeah, so I'm Joshua Fletcher, also known as Fletch. We're going to go ahead and do a screen share here so that we can record the questions as they come through on my browser. So I'll go ahead and present to everyone. Should be good there. All righty. Yeah, a bunch of new big cool stuff going on this week. For anybody who has not been on some of the more recent webinars, we've had some recent kind of content additions from Cotton and Stephen Floyd, both who added some incredible stuff related to the 7-pack, which are kind of like the Google Maps listings. They are now called Google My Business or the carousel, which are going to be awesome. I'm really excited about getting into those and making that work for me. Not ideal from the way it's presented for lead generation, but I think there's some things I can do for it that will also kind of flesh out some of my SEO clients. But then also the OMG Command Center, which is a new piece of software that will most likely replace a ton of things that I've had to do kind of disconnectedly in about 8 different pieces of kind of membership software that I've been using up to this point, which include kind of keeping track of my keyword rankings, all my links that are currently kept in a spreadsheet. Just too much to go through right now. I'm not trying to resell it, but I'm excited about it. So anyway, Suzanne's on. How you doing, Suzanne, Slav? Yeah. For anybody who is on kind of for the first time or just has not maybe been active on my office hours and kind of coaching sessions, kind of topics include anything that you may have questions about or need a little, dialogue on related to anything OMG. So that can include the kind of nuts and bolts of SEO, all the way down to anchor text and silo structure and using different third-party platforms like Web 2.0s or social profiles, kind of up through just how I go about structuring business and locking down new clients, mindset stuff, whatever it might be. So that being said, what I typically do is field questions in the chat box, which will be on the right side of your screen next to the video, and kind of just go through them sequentially. So as people have questions, I typically tend to highlight those. I read them back and then respond to them. Sometimes those responses do take longer than others. So from time to time, I get kind of, I won't say behind, but I can't respond immediately to every question, but I will get to them as I can. And yeah, if you just kind of are patient a little bit, I will get to whatever questions I do come across in that chat box. If for some reason I miss a question that you've put in there, certainly not by any kind of malicious intent, just remind me. Feel free to, if I have skipped over a question that you asked, just go ahead and put it back in there. But otherwise, yeah, we typically run about 90 minutes, give or take, just kind of depending on what's necessary for the day. Like I said, we've got OMG Live coming up this week, so I'm going to try to get to every question that we can today. And because my availability through the end of the week and through the weekend is going to be probably pretty limited to people I meet face-to-face at the event. So yeah, that being said, let's get going. So if anybody was not on the webinar, I think it was yesterday that this got released. This is the OMG Command Center, which I think, yeah, right here is the just regular news feed for OMG machines for the Project J. Project X looks the same way. I think we may have a few people who kind of re-up to get access here, but Project J and Project X membership area is almost identical. If you click on this link here, it takes you to this page, which has kind of an introduction video for kind of what this software is, how it was developed, kind of what all went into it. And then we've got some new tutorial videos here that Greg and Colin have done for how the software works and how we interact with it. Because it's my understanding, SERPT is, a company that existed before. This is not something that was, it was something that was purposely built for us. So some of the functionality and terminology and stuff is set up specifically for OMG machines, which is pretty sweet. So anyway, I'm excited about that. If you guys have heard a little bit about it, I wanted to kind of just show you where it was and what it was about, for you to check out on your own accord to see what's going on with it. So, all right. So we got some questions in here. Oh, Suzanne's on for the first time. Very happy to have you. Glad you are here, Suzanne. All right, Slav. Ask these questions through Facebook. Maybe you've seen them already. From Canada, and Callfire shows $3 per minute per phone numbers. Your videos say $1 per month, $3 per month. Is that price you're seeing right now in the US? I think the prices have gone up maybe on that. It's something a couple people have messaged me about, but I have not gone back to look at it. I'm actually currently testing out a new platform you've probably seen mentioned as well, called CallZoo, that uses the Twilio kind of call switching or call forwarding service. Adds a lot of functionality on the back of that. They're all pretty competitive in price, but I think the prices that I'm working on in Callfire are still $1 per month. I'm not sure if they're different for Canada than they are for the US, but I don't think I'm spending 3 times what I started with. I could be wrong, Slav, but yeah, I think it's still $1 a month for US. Okay, Noel, with the new hosting strategies, what's the minimum requirements for a hosting contract, especially disk space and bandwidth, especially for websites with a lot of videos such as Mile High Plumbing? One of the really cool things with the way vSilo is set up, Noel, those videos are not hosted on my website. They are something called an iframe, which is actually kind of a website within a website. So like the video that you're looking at here on the left is an iframe. I do not get charged bandwidth or usage for these video streaming because the videos are still hosted on YouTube. This is just kind of a window onto the YouTube servers. So with Mile High Plumbing, it actually has a very, very small amount of data that's actually on that server, on my host, because there's actually very little data actually on the website. Most of it is just kind of that window into YouTube, which is what those iframes are. So that being said, it would if you're building out like a vSilo website, you're not going to have those videos hosted on your server, so you probably will not encounter any issues with bandwidth or space. My monthly quota on that website is very, very low. You're going to probably encounter more issues with a lot of really rich text, with a lot of photos if you have high resolution photos, and a lot of traffic that are continually accessing those photos. That's probably going to eat more bandwidth than the videos that I have on those vSilo websites do. Okay. All right, Suzanne, learning SEO. I find it difficult, and starting point always leads me somewhere else. I get confused. I am, whoops, hopped around on me. Sorry about that. Get confused. I'm just starting out, so these will be newbie questions. Absolutely, Suzanne. Everything's fair game here. You know, we've got people that pop in time to time that are honestly probably better at SEO than I am. But at the same time, I also get questions about any and everything. So feel free to ask whatever you have questions on. That's what we're here for. So let's get you kind of moving forward and you know, accomplishing some breakthroughs and putting some new concepts together. All right, Noel, when you change hosting, do you have to reinstall WordPress? Yes. So if you've got an existing website, Noel, what you need to do is to, clone or back that website up, which will then essentially give you all the files and even maybe all the media. If you do a full backup, you have all the files and all the media that it takes to create that website, but you'll still need the WordPress content management system on that new host. So if you were, for instance, moving from SEO hosting over to HostGator, while the site is still up at SEO hosting, you need to clone or back up that entire site, download it someplace that is not on that host on your local machine, or to some third-party server where you have access to it. Get the new hosting set up, install WordPress, and then whatever plugin or file management system you used to get that backup created, you can either FTP those files back up or install WordPress, install the plugin, and then essentially kind of repopulate your site from a backup. It kind of depends on what you used to create that backup, what the easiest way will be to get that site back up and going. Most likely, though, reinstalling WordPress and using something like a plugin like WP Clone or WP Twin will be the easiest way for you to get that site back up and going again. Okay, Neil spoke with Google today about allowing customers to visit my client at a listed address. They said as it was a service listing address was hidden as default. To be continued. Okay. And if this allow box was checked and my client didn't have a sign outside premises, Google would take down my Google business listing. Yeah, I've heard some things about that. I don't, I actually, as far as I know, let me just do a quick check here. I don't know if I have that the check box listed for, how do I get to my listing here? Is this the full listing? It's going to be, I think this will just take me to my website. Yeah, I don't want that. I was trying to find my actual pages listing, but I'm not sure where that's going to be. To see whether or not I had that that check box clicked. I mean, I have office hours here, but yeah, that's not going to do it. I'm not sure where I actually go and see whether or not that checkbox is something I have checked to get it to populate on the map. I think there's a way to, if I'm not mistaken, just not check that, and you'll still have a Google business listing there, but it just, I'm not sure what it actually does in the map when you do that, Neil. Okay, Priscilla, how did you do that video using an iframe? Is that a plugin? No, it's just a piece of code that you can look up. I use, whenever I'm looking up for any kind of coding piece of, I think it's, is it W3 Schools? Yeah. Yeah, this is W3 Schools here. This website has pretty much any little piece of code that you need. If you were going to do a, it is SEO'd really well. So if you type in HTML code iframe, yeah, see the first listing here is W3 Schools. If you just click on this, this is the piece of HTML. So you just go into the editor and you copy, oops, I want to highlight. You copy this piece of code here, and then between these two parentheses, I'm not a coder at all. I just know how to take things apart and see what you need to do. This http://www.w3schools.com is where you would put the YouTube video URL, and that essentially creates that iframe, Priscilla. So it's real easy to use. What I do on the back end of my dashboard, I think I kept this open. Dang it. Crud. I think I killed my window that had, nope, there it is. So when I'm making new pages for this, I essentially just copy all the HTML that creates everything here that's highlighted blue. And I just copy and paste it over to a new page. And then each time, the only thing I got to do is change the date up top, and then change the embed code that leads to this URL for the YouTube video. So you'll kind of get used to that as you use it. It does not require a plugin. What am I thinking of? The vSilo plugin by default uses iframes to populate those videos into your pages. So that's how most videos are displayed on a website, because they don't need to be hosted twice. They just iframe. So whether you're using a YouTube video or a Vimeo video, or one that's hosted on like Amazon S3 servers or anything like that, you can use an iframe, and then just have that little piece of code that refers to the URL be pointing at the location for that video server. All right, Slav, about pay-per-lead, you said we can start with some paid ads to get the ball rolling. Did you have Google AdWords in mind or something else? Yeah, Google AdWords is what I use when I need to kind of start the flow of leads for a new client. Usually with a new client, it's the only time you're going to have to do that. And you don't even always have to do that. It's just something that, depending on the situation, depending on what you need to do to, kind of keep everybody happy and on the same page, you can do that. The way that I essentially, kind of create that lead purchase agreement, it means that the traffic I'm driving to that site are people who are actively searching for that service. That's why I'm able to charge a premium for the leads that I do get, because they're non-solicited. But that does include pay-per-click. So you can create a Google AdWords account for that, and just go after kind of a main term, or a term that gets searched enough that you're going to get some traffic to the site that are, most likely going to convert and give the business a call, so you can start the phone ringing for them. Google AdWords is great for that. All right, Slav, if I make a small website for a few long tail keywords that may not be approved by Google AdWords. Okay, so in that situation, you may, depending on the niche, like I said, in construction, Google AdWords, if you've got about a 7-page site, I've been able to run traffic to that. If it's smaller than that, or even more specific, longer tail, lower search volume, all that kind of thing, you may wind up needing to look elsewhere for traffic. I'm not sure what the guidelines are for Facebook ads. I think you can probably do that as well. Just not something I've gotten into that much. For the most part, if you create a good website, even with long tail keywords, you're going to get ranked rather quickly. I know there's kind of that sandboxing effect at the moment, but yeah, I'm still under a month on getting things kind of up and getting some traffic for certain long tail keywords, especially if I'm using social explosions and things like that. Yeah, AdWords is typically what I use, but there are other traffic sources for paid traffic. Facebook springs to mind, but I don't have any experience with that personally. All right, Slav, in Canada, it seems that it's required to say that a call is being recorded. Does that call fire have an automated feature that lets callers know that? Yes, it does. You can opt to have an inbound, it's called an inbound recording, so that the caller can hear something. And then there's another feature called a whisper, which will mean that the person picking up the phone call will hear something. So if you do need to disclose that the phone call is being recorded, you can drop a message on there that says this call is being recorded for quality assurance. That usually will meet the requirements of any local legislation and disclosure on that. And then if you need to drop a whisper to the person picking up the phone, I usually do that as well. That will say this call is from searchexplosion.com, or this call is from Joshua Fletcher, or whatever it might be. That sometimes can help especially when you are getting ready to get a new client set up. If they have kind of a whisper feature on there, it lets them know that, you know, whatever calls you do send their way are coming from you. So it kind of pre-frames the sale that you're going to make at a later date. All right, Neil, I just mentioned this as on Cotton's Q&A last night. It was said that checking allow clients to visit at listed premises. It was a must. Okay, that's good to know, Neil. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that feature yet. I've set up, you know, when I showed you guys this, I've got this, and I don't know if I don't think this is a business that, yeah, this isn't even set up and registered yet. So, but what I was getting at is the only business I've ever set up in that maps listing was that EcoBuilt. So that was the only one I could check. Like I said, I'm still kind of new to all that world, going through it. So we'll see. But that's good information to know. Thank you for adding that. All right, Priscilla, clear as mud. But thanks anyway. Well, here, Priscilla, let me show you what's going on with that. So this is just my dashboard for this website. You know, when you're logged into WordPress, this is what you see. We'll go to the exact page that I have for today, which is this. And the piece of iframe is right here. So this is what is, I'm going to copy this, okay? I don't think that our chat box will mess up if I drop this in there, but it might. So actually, you don't even need that whole piece. You just need this. So I'm going to copy this. Where do we go? Oh, let's just do a view page. Okay, so now we're back over here. I'm going to re-enter this. Okay, so I'm going to drop this code in here. I'm going to put a couple spaces in here because it does weird things if you try to drop links in the chat box. But that's essentially the piece of iframe. And so then the HTTP/YouTube video, this right here, if you were going to like youtube.com, and you found a video that you wanted to grab, this. So you would just replace this HTTP. You could even do this. This is even easier. See, this just gives you an iframe right here. So you just drop this in your editor window, and it'll give you the video. I don't know why this does autoplay. Close that real quick. All right, hopefully that sound didn't come through. If it did, sorry about that. Okay. Let me head down here again. Okay, that was Priscilla's. Hopefully that worked for you, Priscilla, to give you a little better understanding of how that works. All right, Noel, with Penguin 3, Greg recommended themed PBNs. If they were themed, they become very similar to money sites. So could we not monetize them and still link to similar themed money sites? Yes, you could. Many times, as often as possible, I try to make my PBN sites look like real sites. And one of the things that a real site will have as often as, well, much more often than not, is a way to make money on that site. To my way of thinking, if I were somebody that was a human reviewer for Google and I came to a website that had absolutely no way to monetize, a red flag would go up for me. If there was not an ad on there, if there was not a link to buy something on there, if there was not some way to sign up for an opt-in for an email autoresponder, I would be suspicious about that website being used for links only. So many times, as often as I can, and like I said, I don't say all the time because I'm still going through and kind of re-upping. I buy expired sites a lot of times, and even from existing PBNs, and kind of go through and re-up them. So it's a part of my process to make those sites look as real as possible. And part of that reality is to have an opt-in, is to have an ad, is to have an affiliate link or something like that. So absolutely, you were definitely on the right thought process there. You can do that for sure. All right, Pete, is it okay to have multiple money sites hosted with the same company? For example, HostGator, or should they also be hosted with different companies? Yeah, you're going to, ow, sitting on my own foot. You just need to think about, and for me, sometimes I even have to draw a little picture of what that would look like. So if you had like 10 money sites that were all on HostGator, and they were each in a different HostGator account, so that meant they were all on different IP addresses, and even maybe had different name servers. That would not necessarily, that wouldn't be a problem if they were each being linked to from, for instance, if they had a PBN that was hosted at, just say, Bluehost. Okay, so you had 10 sites that were each hosted at Bluehost, and you had 10 money sites that were hosted at HostGator, and you were linking from the PBN sites over to your money sites individually. That's not a problem. The problem would potentially be if you had all 10 of those money sites on the same IP address at HostGator, and you were linking to them from different PBNs. You would be creating a footprint kind of the reverse way that we typically think of a footprint being, which is from kind of the PBN to the money site. You would actually be creating a connection at the money site for your PBNs, which would also be a no-no. So you just want to kind of think it through. You can absolutely do it. I've been doing it for a long time. I've got a lot of my money sites hosted in one Bluehost host account, but they have no links in common. They have no hosting in common with the links that they are getting, with the PBNs that they're getting links from. They're totally separate. One of the nice things about local ranking for local terms is that very seldom will I need more than maybe 3-4 links to a site to get it ranked very, very well. So I typically don't have the footprint issues that people do when they're going for larger competition keywords, national keywords, and stuff like that. So yeah, you can absolutely do it. Just make sure you think it through, and make sure that you're not creating kind of a footprint in the opposite direction. All right, Neil, just kind of intrigued as to how Google would know there was a sign outside my premises. Well, you potentially would encounter a couple things, Neil. One of them being your competition. If somebody's gone to great lengths to get ranked #1 in that 7-pack and you take it over, they may go drive by your house or an open field and find that there's no business here and report that to Google. As I mentioned very frequently, SEO is a competition, and for people who are either honestly, miffed that they have taken, a lot of time and effort to get #1 and they lost it, or just people that are, being mischievous and wanting to hurt other people, they'll report things, and Google will either investigate or just take it down. The other thing that Google has working for us is that Google Street View. So if you were, I don't know if you can do this. If you can do this and you click on this, there's a way, like I said, I'm not super savvy with how this all works. Whoa. Yeah, so this is this is my house. So obviously no sign here, right? If Google had a way to cross-reference that or just go check, it's not even like they had to send a reviewer out. What they would just be able to do is to, pull this picture up and say, yep, no sign, we'll take this listing down. So that's one way that they could check that and potentially nix the deal for you. All right, Noel, when you change hosting companies, Do you have to cancel the current host before you set up a new one, or does it matter? No, you don't need to change it. The thing that will determine where that data is fed from to the internet is your name servers, and that's controlled at your registrar. So if you're using Namecheap, for instance, as your registrar, and you have your name servers defined there, what you'll need, what will change where the data is coming from, from one hosting to the next, you'll go back to Namecheap and you'll redefine what those name servers are, what IP address they're on and such. And that will be what determines the hosting account that's active. And so, yeah, you could have your actual website existing in 10 different servers. And, the one that's current is going to be defined by that name server. If you were on that webinar recently with the SOA records, I can't remember what it starts. Source of authority. Anyway, that's essentially determines where that data is. And that's going to be defined at your registrar, not at your host. All right, Shane's on late today. Not sure if you covered this yet, but I've got 5 PBNs from Gregory. Does that name of the site determine the subject I need to use on the site? No, absolutely not, Shane. At the moment, retheming PBNs is something that works very well still. So even if the existing links are not related to what you're trying to promote, you're going to be fine being able to retheme it. So if you were putting something together, I know, if you were getting into air conditioning repair and you bought a PBN that had something to do with dogs, you could put new content on it about air conditioning repair, keeping your house cool, and link that over to an air conditioning repair website, and you'll still get plenty of juice out of that. So it's even better if you can find them that are related to your niche, which are, that's like gold. And I think Gregory mentioned something about that recently, but I'm not sure 100%. But yeah, you can retheme those to kind of whatever you want to, in that case, Shane. All right, I use SeattleFlights.com. Can I make it a site about home services? Boost my money sites, home services. This be an issue with the update? Nope, shouldn't be an issue at all right now. Doesn't mean it won't change in the future, but that's what I keep telling people, learn this, and it's not like a rush to learn it, but don't just sit on the information. Make our money now, and as things change, we change with it, because things are guaranteed to change. And so we get in and we make it work now. We make enough money that when things change, we can pay for that out of our budget, and business goes on. So, all right, Priscilla, thanks. We'll try it. Yeah, it's just give it a shot. It's real easy. And that's the best way to kind of get more familiar with anything, is to just do it. Rarely, if ever, you're going to really break something. And even if you do, you can almost always recover it. So play with it on something that you can play with, whether it's a site that you don't really have monetized yet or whatever. You can play with new themes there. You can try these iframes there. You can try, if you need to install gravity forms and, mess around with it to get used to it, you can do all that kind of thing. So, all right, Shane, regarding PBNs now, should I host my new 5 PBNs on 5 different hosting companies? How many money sites can I boost with one PBN? Yeah, I would put each of those PBNs on a different host, Shane, with the new updates that have come out recently. Each of your PBNs are still going to be able to power just as many money sites as they could before. I typically leave that at about 10. Greg has mentioned 10 to 20 works, but I tend to not need to push it that much. So if you've got 5 PBNs, you would potentially be able, the issue you're going to run into is that if one of those PBNs links to, say, 10 of your money sites, you don't want the next PBN to link to the same, 10 money sites, and then the third PBN to link to the same 10 money sites. What that's going to create is essentially kind of, you just jumped on recently, but I was talking about kind of the reverse footprint, which is essentially linking all your PBNs together with your money site. That's what you don't want to do either. You can create a footprint both directions. So just be aware of that. If you've got 5 PBNs, one of the things that's going to help as well is to continue to build out like social profiles. Like if you put a Facebook page together, or Google Plus or Twitter, or create a YouTube channel, or create a Vimeo channel, or create a LinkedIn page, or, you know, whatever you might be doing. That's going to help break up that footprint as well. Social Explosion is also very good for that. What it's going to do is send links to your money site or PBN from other places as well. So you're going to have a footprint that's broken up, or at least kind of obfuscated, you know, kind of muddled more than it would be if you've only got 3 links and they're all from the same 3 PBN sites. Right, Slav, but Street View may be a couple years old. Yeah, absolutely right, Slav. And that's something I didn't mention, didn't even really necessarily think of. You know, that would be something that would, well, like I said, I don't know exactly what Google's terms are on that. You know, I know what their terms of service are, but how they actually handle that, I'm not sure. I don't know if they send people out, or if they, you know, if they get 5 different complaints, then they take action, or whatever it might be. All right, Priscilla, your house, was that Google Street View? Yeah, it was, Priscilla. Slav, if I have PBN with PR3 DA40, PA40, how many PR0 DA15 PA15s would I need to achieve the same link power? It's not an exact issue. You've got a couple things that come into play there, Slav. One is the relevance of the links, how themed they are, how thematically relevant. The DA scale is logarithmic. So a DA40 is not just 10 points better, it's 10 times better than a DA30, which is 10 times more powerful than a DA20. So you're looking with a DA40 and a DA15, just going off of that metric, potentially quite a bit. Like I said, it's not an exact metric. Even beyond that, domain authority is not even a Google metric. It's a Moz metric. So, you know, Google's data very closely mirrors that. You know, that's why we can use it as something that we pay attention to as kind of a yardstick for looking to see what's valuable. But Google's algorithm takes other things into consideration as well. So it's really hard to say. There are a lot of things that come into play, and just even with those 3 metrics being the ones that we look at most of the time to see how powerful something is, it's not, there's no way to know. There are ways to know, but they're so complicated that I don't know how to do them. And they'll probably take more time to figure that number out than it would be to just get 10 more links or something like that. Suffice it to say, though, that a domain authority 40 site, especially if it's thematically relevant, is many, 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 many times more powerful than a DA15. But what you're going to get into a situation with, and the reason that thematic relevance is important, is that a thematically relevant DA15 link is still many times better than a link from a very generalized website that does not have, or that may have even more domain authority. So that's why even some of these weaker PBN sites have a lot of power to influence ranking, because your PBN site is going to be all about home services, for instance. And you've got a link coming from a domain authority 15 site that's all about home services pointing to a home services website. That link is going to get a lot of weight as far as Google's concerned, even maybe more weight than a link from Twitter, which is domain authority, you know, 99 or 97 or whatever it is. That relevance, that thematic relevance, is becoming much more important. So that's something you definitely want to look into and keep in mind. All right, Noel, Fletcher Mile High Plumbing site looks very different. Did you just change the theme, or is there more to it? Yeah, I did. I don't know what I had done recently, but it got all jumbled up, and the actual menu was just trashed, and it actually was not a silo site anymore because of that, because a silo site is defined by how the on-site link structure works. So it is now set up and currently a functional silo website. So that means that each of these top level silo landing pages for Denver Plumber, for instance, will only have links back up to the home and then to its supporting pages in that silo. So these are all going to be related to this term Denver instead of the other suburb cities in Denver. So if we were going to, for instance, Westminster, the only links on this page for Westminster Plumber are going to be back to the home page or to other plumbing pages here about Westminster. So, and then this deep page, which these are the pages that typically rank highest, these inner pages. So this URL structure here, this deepest inner page, or the page that ranks for this term. And I changed this up this last week, so I really haven't seen a lot of movement yet with it. But just because it has a different menu structure now, very likely will move up considerably in a lot of these terms because, well, this is something that we've talked about a lot. It really has not become a very central point to what we talk about, but we build offsite links and we focus a lot of our energy on that. But the on-site links that we have are very important as well. So if we were on this page, which is, you know, trying to rank for code violation repair in Westminster, the only link, there are actually links here going outbound links that will help Google decide what this page is about as well. So because of these terms being things that are common to plumbing and all of these links being something about Westminster, it's easier for Google to tell that this page is in fact about this term. So that was one of the things. I've been using that site as just a demo site for people to see what a silo website looks like and to understand how the menu structure works. But for the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, it has not been a good example of that. The theme got changed or something happened, and it was not functioning properly. So I went through this last week and upgraded that. So yeah, good eye on that. And the reason I did that was because it needed to be done to maintain its usefulness as a demonstration site for silos. All right, Shane, I got a good video maker software. If I want to just make videos for a bit of extra money and for my clients while building SEO business support, would you recommend Fiverr, and how much do you or would you charge on Craigslist, etc.? Did you make 5 videos that you told me about last week? $5 grand, 5,500 USD. Yeah, Shane, I would, depending. So this price was arrived at. It was somebody that I knew. We also knew very, very well that the keywords they wanted to go after were very valuable. They had traffic, and there was a lot of buyer intent for those keywords. It's one of the reasons I could get, I don't want to say get away with, but I could charge the price that I did without a lot of production value. But yeah, you can, if you're looking to sell it, I would look at like Elance. I would list them on Craigslist. Elance has actually become something else. I think they merged with another company, like an outsourcing company. You can list your work there. You can post it on Craigslist. Absolutely. You know, you could SEO optimize video creation in your city to get people coming to you. One of the things that's going to become, well, it always has been a very important piece of OMG is the money getting aspect of it and figuring out the best way to set yourself up to win that game. One of the things that video can do, Shane, and that I've used it for in the past, is a great way to get your foot in the door with a customer who at a later date or as an upsell will want SEO for that. So whatever you do to get some gigs going with video creation, make that part of an overall strategy to retain that customer and deliver customer service, which customer service includes your responsibility to sell them anything that would help their business, which will most likely include SEO at some point in time. So if I were you, what I would do is to treat video creation and video marketing really as a piece of what you do, and treat it as part of your sales funnel, or really a client attracting method. And the reason I kind of went into that is you don't necessarily have to charge a lot of money on those kind of products, because many times those customers are going to be with you long term and pay you money on SEO. So what Cotton was talking about recently on his gig is to create an optimized Google My Business listing. Well, what you could do is to create optimized videos. If you picked up like some good video maker software, like I've got a whole handful. I've got, I just picked up that Explaindio today, which is very much like, what's the other one called? Video Maker FX. I have Video Scribe. Those are all just real, you can make a video in 20 minutes. And so if you make a video in 20 minutes and it takes you another 10 minutes to upload it to YouTube and get it optimized for those keywords, you haven't necessarily done the SEO, but you've set the stage for SEO. So if you charged $150 for that, that's very easy to say you make $150 an hour. If you did 5 videos, you could charge, $600 to $650? No, $750 for 5 videos that are optimized. It doesn't mean they're going to rank in Google. You can do other things to get them to rank, but you'd make good money and also set the stage to retain that client and escalate that client over time. So that might be something, like I said, it's not a rule, certainly, but it might be an idea and a way for you to kind of ease your way into some bigger clients. All right, Priscilla, when you say thematically relevant, do you mean the link from a PBN plumbing site is linking to a plumbing money site? Yes, absolutely correct, Silla. So yeah, that's one of the reasons, Greg, we've been kind of moving that direction with thematically relevant PBN sites over the last year. But now it's time to say there's no reason to not theme your PBN site. I still have a ton that are not, but they were created a long time ago. So whether retheming them now makes sense or not, I don't know. I'll probably go through and kind of play with that and see what the effects are. But for any new sites you're setting up, yeah, make them thematically relevant. Make them based on a certain topic. All right, Shane, on your Mile High Plumbing site, Silo site, did you make those videos or all those call fire numbers? How's it monetized? Currently not monetized at all. This phone number is a call fire phone number. It forwards. I don't think it forwards anywhere right now. I don't even know what would happen if you called it. You might call my cell phone for all I know. But these videos, that vSilo plugin that I use, it scrapes these. So all you do is you tell it what the page title is going to be and what it's a child of. So the parent-child relationship. So Westminster, Colorado plumber is the parent. This is a child. You just go through and you define. So you start at home. You say, okay, I'm going to have 5 silos below this. You say one's Denver plumber, one's Arvada, Colorado plumber, one's Lakewood plumber, et cetera, down. Okay. And then once you hit save, the vSilo plugin, what it does is it goes out and it does a YouTube search for Denver plumber. It finds a video for Denver plumber, scrapes it, puts an iframe on your website. You can tell it to grab this stuff too, which is the description for this video. This is all stuff directly from YouTube. I did not make any of this. This entire website, first time I put it up, was probably 35 minutes of work, and it's a couple hundred pages. Let me see what it's actually got here. Look at pages. Yeah, so it's 250 page website. I've also got Video Kraken running on it, and it has now created over 1,000 posts. So yeah, that website, it's just pretty much on autopilot. Not being monetized, I haven't even tried. With demo sites, as we've kind of talked about recently, they have a tendency to get trashed and thrashed once we put them out there. Also, because I use it as a demo site, my metrics are crazy because every time I talk about it on office hours, or if we're doing like a promo webby, I'll have 150 people on it one day, and the next day it goes back to 15 people. It's just kind of all over the board. So likely I will not monetize this. I'll just continue to use it as a demo site. And then Pete's asking, was that Mile High site built with vSilo? Yes, it was, Pete. So for anybody who has not maybe seen that or is kind of interested in what it looks like. So the dashboard for vSilo, this first page, this is where you tell it what to go grab. So it's going to grab that HTML. That's the iframe. It's going to grab your video title and description and put those on each of the pages. You can actually build short code and have it do some other things. If you wanted to have an affiliate link or something like that on each of the pages, you could do that there with these short codes. The manual silo builder is what I use. So when you're building something, you essentially say, on the home page, I'm going to create this Denver plumber. These are all the sub pages. So you essentially just drop these in. Let's go down here. If I wanted to add new, you see, well, I should have done this. I should have made more of a note of it. So if I was going to add a new page to Denver plumber here, let's just do this as an example. Denver plumber, if I wanted to add a new page to this, so go ahead and add the keyword Denver here at the end. I'm going to go ahead and hit add new. Okay. Okay. Category added. So let's go down and look and see where it came up. Make sure that it's in here. See this last entry, AX, 24-hour emergency plumber Denver. If we go back over to the regular website right now, we go to Denver plumber. I think this will come up. I may have limited the menus. Yeah, I limited the menus. So if I was in here and I wanted to menus, I think this is where I do it. Oh, no, it's not. Might be in the widgets area. Yeah, number of links. Let me just up this real quick. Okay. Now if I go back here, should be the last one, but yeah. So this last page was just created. Like I said, that was just created when I was there. It went out and grabbed a video for 24-hour emergency plumber Denver, scraped it, put it on this page. And it also dynamically created this menu so that that link is only here. So if we were in Westminster, for instance, you will not, whoa, I zoomed in. Good grief. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened here. I'm still zoomed in. Well, I don't know what happened with that, but you can see down at the bottom here, we do not have that 24-hour. We've got this touchpad. I'm on a Mac, so there's sometimes these funky like 2 and 3 finger gestures, they're called. I'm going to close that just because it's being wonky on me. We can open it back up. Hopefully it won't have that same crazy zoom level. Yeah, so now we're back to normal. So as I was saying, down at the bottom of this, we don't have that 24-hour in this menu. So hopefully that makes sense. Until you start building it, sometimes it's a little disconnected just because you're looking at it without having done it. There's a connection with the doing and the thinking that kind of makes things make more sense for people. But hopefully that makes sense. All right, Slav, let's say I've got, whoops, may have missed a question from Pete. Oh, no, that was Pete's question there. Okay. Slav, let's say I have a PBN with 1 article and 2 links and everything perfectly done, and then I add a few more articles. Okay. How much weaker with linking power will it be if I add more backlinks? A little bit, but not enough to have it not be worthwhile. So it's something that Greg's tested a lot. And the reason that he recommends, putting 8 or 10 posts on there is because you can do 8 or 10 without diluting it that much. With the old PR model of SEO, PageRank, it was something that was affected much more by the number of links that you have on a page. Anymore, with what happens with domain authority and it not really, it's just a different model now, that those extra links don't necessarily dilute your strength that much. So you're going to be in good shape to add, 8 or 10 different posts with, 1 or 2 links a piece, 1 to an authority site, 2 to an authority site, 1 to your money site, 1 to your money site, just mix it up a little bit. You're going to be in fine shape. All right, Shane, that's the one I got. Explain to you. Haha, looks good. Yeah, I've been kind of playing with it a little bit, Shane. Like I said, I was using Video Maker Effects. Before that, I really like it. It was easy to use. Explain.io looks to be pretty much the same with Doodle thrown in and the ability to create a video background with the Doodle on top of it. So I haven't made anything with it yet, but I'm excited about that. Certainly worth the money because I make a lot of videos and sometimes I just need to crank them out. So yeah, should be cool, man. All right, Slav, Mile High Plumbing. How do you go around duplicate content creation? It doesn't matter, Slav. That's not something that is a problem. All right, Shane. Yep, love it, bro. That's what I'm doing. Long citation work in 7-pack and carousel. Would I keep the video on my YouTube channel? If so, how do I determine what's best to call that channel? Can I have more than 1 YouTube account, receives share dollar from YouTube? Yes, you can. One of the things you want to do, David talks about it a lot in Law of Implication. And it's really, it's a principle that exists universally. You want it in business, you want it in health, you want it in your financial, what you're doing to allocate your investments and things like that. And it's kind of summed up around avoiding a deadfall. Avoid something that could totally take you out. And so, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem for you to put all of your videos on the same channel. But if you did that and something happened to that channel, what would happen to your income? And so you may want to think about breaking up your money generating assets a little bit more. Shouldn't be a problem to have them on the same channel. But if there were a problem with it, what would you do? So I would probably recommend, having a couple channels at least, having them totally separate from one another. And at the very least, keep all your files, keep them backed up so that if one of your channels happened to go down, you could repopulate the other channel with the videos that you've created and just have to go about SEOing them again to get the call volume back up. But that would work out just fine. And yes, you can have more than 1 YouTube account. Google, right now I have, I think, 3 sub accounts on my IP address. So if I try to log into Google with just my regular machine here, it's like, oh, hey, are you logging in as Joshua Fletcher or EcoBuilt? Or I think Search Explosion has its own email address and account set up. So each of those are essentially tied together. And that's fine with me because those are all me. I own an online marketing company. I own what used to be a general contracting company that's now a construction marketing company. And then it's me. So beyond that, though, what you'll probably want to do is to create those from a different IP and keep them separate from your regular login if you're going to do that way. You can do it with, Hide My Ass or Hide My IP. Those are both services that will mask your IP address. Hide My IP, the company that makes that, also has something called Hide My Mac, which is even more secretive. You could log in through, there's some other, browser VPN that will, mask who you are and let you, run around the internet anonymously and things like that. So those are all choices and options. Once you get too broad, I guess, with your accounts, it's something you want to think about. I don't want to go into it too much just because I don't want people who are just beginning to think, oh, there's all this other stuff I got to do. That's not the case. You can do extraordinarily well with just one YouTube account or two, and you can do both of those without having to do any extra, crazy hiding who you are or anything like that. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, Noel, on vSilos, is there a limit to the number of levels of depth you can go? Yeah, there is, Noel. So the site currently has, well, let's just log into the dashboard. It's a little easier to see here. I think there's actually a map. Yeah, silo map. So we've got our main homepage menu, essentially called. This next level is called the silo landing page. It's the top of the silo. These are silo supporting pages. If you go beyond this level, this Burst Pipes Denver level, it's going to create posts for you. Posts support these inner pages. You don't want to go beyond posts. So homepage, silo landing pages, supporting pages, and then supporting posts. You don't want to go deeper than that. If you've got a structure thought up that requires more than that, you probably want to rethink the structure. That comes from Network Empire. They're the people who developed and devised the plugin and also know more about silos than anybody else I know of. So I just kind of follow their lead on that. But yeah, you can go another level deeper with the plugin than I have on this site without any problem at all. But if you go more than one level deeper, you should probably kind of rethink your structure on that. All right, Shane, with vSilo, if it scrapes all these videos and you have the site with traffic, the benefit to the scrape video owners' businesses, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely, they don't mind the videos being scraped for sure, because it's people watching their videos and whatever. So, they're I would say likely to receive phone calls off my site. That's fine with me. It didn't take me any time to build the site. But that being said, if I were on this page and this were a, Brothers Plumbing, and I ranked for this term, if I ranked for drain cleaning in Arvada, this is their video, I could just go to this company, Brothers Plumbing here or whatever, and just say, hey, I got a website here with a video, one of your videos on it. It's ranked #1 for this term. Let's work together. Let me, sell you leads, or you can rent the page from me for me to continue to keep the video on there for, I don't know, $15 a month. I mean, the site's got 250 pages. You've got $15 a page per month. You're making good money on just one site. So it's making money is just, hey, let's use my imagination and figure out what's of value to somebody, and then let me try to figure out a way to communicate that to them. That really is what this comes down to. So, recently we had Bob Proctor promote us, and his kind of summation or summary video for that series that we did for him was that OMG is not a course about SEO. It's a course about making money. And I really like looking at it that way. This is a skill that's incredibly valuable, but it's incredibly valuable because it makes money for our clients and it helps us make money. But to do that, you got to use your brain a little bit and kind of, either follow, one of the models that we've created until you start to understand and see kind of money existing in other places. So yeah, certainly we do not want to, with the money getting anyway, we don't want to limit or make you think that there is, you can't do something that we haven't talked about. So absolutely, Shane, that was a good comment. All right, Pete, if you're going to monetize Mile High, how would you go about doing that? What I would do is to go through, Shane and I have been talking about that video creation software. I would probably cookie cutter video, these 250 pages. I would make a new video for each of these pages. I would make its own channel, Mile High Plumbing YouTube channel. I would put each of those videos into that channel. I would embed them on this page. I would rank each of those videos for the terms. And because those terms are ranked with a video embed pointing back to these pages, this website would also rank for each of the terms. So I would have a website and a video ranked on the first page for each of these 250 terms. And I would just contact a local plumbing company and say, hey, we've got, 150 people a day on the site. We get 10 phone calls a day. How does $25 a call sound? Something like that, 250 a day, 7 days a week. What's that, 1,500 a week? Is that right? Yeah, a little over 1,500 a week, 6,000 a month. If my memory serves, when I started looking at the market, that's about what the plumbing market in Denver is worth, call volume wise. Just really rough estimates of kind of the experience I've had with conversion and everything like that. So, and like I said, it's a city of a little over 1 million people in one of the trade industries. There's so much people use the internet and it drives a lot of business. I'll put it that way. But there's 100 ways to do that, Pete. I could rent the whole site out to one company and just say, hey, you want to pay me, $1,000 a month for this site? These are the number of people we got on it. I could go out and find a CPA offer, cost per action offer for plumbing, and let people, fill out a form and be contacted by a plumber to get something done. I could contact a local plumbing company this is something I really haven't talked about that much. It's a little complicated, but you can look at the state records for new businesses. A lot of lawyers will do this and find out new businesses that have been created recently, new licenses that were extended recently, like a plumbing license, and contact that business owner and say, hey, just saw that you were awarded a plumbing license recently. Wanted to congratulate you. We do online marketing. I've already got a website ranking in in the Denver area for plumbing terms. Would you want to get the leads from this website? That's kind of what I do. And, just contacting you because I saw that you were just getting started and wanted to kind of help businesses out doing this. So 100 different ways to do that kind of thing. All right, Shane, I'm using Video Blocks for HD video and backgrounds as well. Quality product. Yeah, Video Blocks has got some good stuff. I've used some of their stock footage. So yeah, definitely a good kind of name drop there. All right, Slav, whoops, hopped around on me here. Slav, would you ever have 3 articles on PBN linking to 3 related properties, e.g. Article 1 to a money site, Article 2 to Facebook account, Article 3 to a Weebly page? Yes. Sometimes I do. I do that type of thing kind of in conjunction with domain authority stacking, Slav. If I'm not trying to throw other terms on you and confuse anything, but Jimmy Kelly, who works very closely with us and is also a part of Network Empire, who's coming on board with us for that director's cut next year. One of his really powerful kind of proprietary SEO methods is something called domain authority stacking. It's essentially linking together very high domain authority sites to accomplish a great deal of influence on the target property. More often than not, that's kind of how I use that. So we talked about iframes earlier. An iframe is a link. So you can embed, if you've got a video that you're trying to rank in, you know, Google or whatever, you can just go grab that video and embed it on a PBN, and then have a link that goes to the money site that was linked to from the description of that video. And so you've got a PBN link going to your YouTube video, which then has a link going back to your money site. And you may also have a direct link to the money site. So you can do that. You don't want to do it probably too much. It's not something that, none of this stuff you want to do all the time. You want to kind of break things up and do each time a little differently. That's one of the beautiful things about SEO, and why it's so it really caters to one-man gang operations, because we can change very quickly. Huge organizations cannot. They need to train somebody to do this thing over and over and over again. When you're one-man operation, you can change that each time. If you know the principles, you can just use your imagination on it. But yeah, I know I kind of talked around the direct question there, but hopefully that lets you see really the principle behind it, which is, yes, you can link to related properties from the same PBN. You just want to do it in different ways each time, so that it doesn't create the same pattern over and over again. All right, Priscilla, can you make multiple accounts with YouTube with fake names? Yes, you can, but you want to do that. If I were going to do that, I have a ton. I have, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 different Google logins from accounts that I have contracted to have set up. Some of those have YouTube channels associated to them. Some do not. I'm just pretty careful about logging into them and changing them all the time. Sometimes they're set up once and they really don't get a lot of activity other than that. There are some ways to kind of get around that with automatic kind of content syndication out to some of those places, and some other neat things you can do with like RSS feeds and things like that. But again, that's kind of a lot more advanced stuff. So yeah, you can do it, but don't get caught up too much on it right now until you have 3 built out, you know, entire Google profiles with full channels that have a lot of SEO videos. Don't get caught up on, well, what do I need to do to build 10? Just build one the right way first, and it gets a lot easier to understand what you need to be careful of once you've done it 3 or 4 times. So yeah, try not to let that hold you up too much, Priscilla. All right, Cliff A. Fletch, in yesterday's webinar, we saw a lot about using Fiverr to build a high amount of citations for the 7-pack. Yep. Would you say that doing this in general is good practice, in that it builds a variety of quality backlinks to your sites using Fiverr citation building? I think it is. I think something, though, that you also want to be aware of or mindful of is that if you build the same, like if there's Fiverr gigs, I've got one that's bookmarked right now. I don't know if it's the one that was shared on the webinar or whatever, but where is it? Yeah, it's an OnlyWire citation building kind of thing. You know, something like this. These are accounts, you know, it'll build Dig and Twitter and, you know, Facebook and all this kind of stuff. What you want to kind of be aware of is if you use the exact same 20 or 10 or 15 or 100 citations or social profiles each time, if you've got anything that is connecting those together, Google is starting to look even 2 tiers deep on its links to determine footprint and ranking factors and things like that. So you just want to have some variability. I think it's good. I think it's something that will continue to work well with clients. See, that's the thing too. With a client-based business, if you're doing SEO for a client, it's going to be very different than what I do. I own all my properties. You know, for the most part, I've got a handful of clients. Outside of that, I do most of my SEO on my own stuff. And so I have to be very, very aware of any potential connections and footprints that I leave. You know, if I've got 10 or 20 different lead gen sites that are all in the Phoenix area and they all are connected to the same 20 social profiles, and I've got 3 or 4 PBN sites that may be linking to a handful of those, I, you know, potentially set myself up to create a pattern. For most people, especially doing client stuff, all those client sites are so disconnected and all over the place, they're going to be a lot safer. So I think it's a great tactic, especially with clients. Something that gets them set up very easily. It helps break up your PBN footprint, which is great. But if you're doing straight up lead gen, it's something you probably want to try to break up even more than just doing it every time on every site. For clients, though, I think it's probably something that's safe to do for every client, and there's a lot of margin in that. So yeah, I would definitely do that. And getting more and more into the client stuff, I've been, thinking kind of about this next year for me, and in all likelihood, I will start to do that more. So getting Cotton involved with OMG and seeing really how he manages his clients and the client acquisition side of things, and even some of this fulfillment stuff that you're talking about, it is just critical. It's going to be such a big accelerator for people who are just getting started. So in all likelihood, we'll all be kind of building out our client-based businesses together. So, all right, Suzanne, can you make money on a site that is just vSilo with affiliates? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so when I talked about that one piece of the vSilo builder here on the settings, this short code, you can drop an affiliate link here, okay? And then you'll take this piece of short code and put it here. And then every page you build will have whatever down here. If this was an affiliate link, every new page that got built would have an affiliate product on it. So now you combine that with Video Kraken, which you can do the same thing for. You need to have another plugin called Shortcodes. You can essentially if I could spell, you could essentially do the same thing for all those posts. So yeah, you can have an automated website that continues to grow in strength and relevance over time that has affiliate offers on every page and every post. So I've not done that, but it's designed for that kind of thing. I'm going to close that. I don't need to look at my house. I see it every day. Okay. Neil, have any preferences for Fiverr for backlinks to YouTube videos? I don't, Neil. I've been using my own link building stuff for quite a while now. So I use GSA and Money Robot both, and have been using those for most of this year. I think going back to maybe March or so, I kind of got set up using GSA, and then maybe 3-4 months ago, I started using Money Robot as well. So in this situation, unfortunately, I do not have a recommendation on a Fiverr gig for links. I will say though that I have noticed a couple people posting in the Facebook group that like Seawork Service, I think a couple people contracted them for backlinks to a YouTube video, and it was advertised as like 4,000 highly relevant or high PR backlinks or something like that, and they wound up with like 14,000 or 28,000 or something like that, way over delivered, and it actually caused a problem to be to have that many more links than they actually wanted. So I'll say that I don't know much more than that. That's kind of the only pulse on Fiverr backlinking to YouTube videos that I know of, is just some reports that I've seen in the Facebook group. Okay, Priscilla, when is now no longer a good idea to use GSA links? Is it related to ranking YouTube vids? I haven't run any GSA campaigns since this last kind of go around with this last update. Some things happened with not only the algorithm, but anytime there's kind of a big shakeup, it's best to kind of figure out what's going on before you charge forward again. So I've been kind of letting Greg and Jimmy get to the bottom of what's going on before I kind of kick that up again. So I don't know if they've really green lighted that again yet. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've been kind of putting some other things together aside from ranking new videos. So I haven't run any GSA campaigns probably in three weeks or so. All right, Slav and director's cut, something different than Project J members will get for free. No, it's not going to be for free because it's totally different people involved with it, Slav. It's going to be Cotton, Joe Marfolio, and Jimmy Kelly. So from what I understand, like I said, don't take, I work with OMG. I certainly don't own it, and I'm on the inside to a degree, but I'm not. I'm more of a member than somebody that owns a company. But the way it's shaped up to look like it's going to become is an addition that kind of segues into 2015. So just a bit of history with OMG. When it started, the full coaching program was just called NHB, No Holds Barred, which meant it was everything that OMG does. So but if it's everything that they do, it can't remain static. So it grows and it evolves, and each new year things come out, things change, and all that kind of thing. So when Project X and then what's now become Project J came out, the people in NHB were like, well, we should be able to upgrade to get into this new stuff. And I think this director's cut is a way to do that, but I'm not 100% sure. You have to ask Mike or David directly. I'm not sure. But I do know that it's not for free because they've been talking about the price attached to it. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, though. All right, Noel, Fiverr is getting hammered on here in Canada at the moment through a program called Marketplace. They were caught providing false reviews to businesses. I don't know if it will go any further. Yeah, that happens every once in a while, Noel. Yeah, I do know there's been, I don't read the newspaper and I don't really read much news or listen to much news, but from time to time I have seen things that it even potentially, false reviews can be potentially even criminal. But for the most part, it just breaks terms of service for Yelp or Angie's List or whatever it might be. So I don't know where that'll go. It certainly would not be a situation that would shut down Fiverr. Fiverr is a hub for, like, you can get on Fiverr and create a gig. You know, Shane was talking about that earlier, video creation services. So Fiverr being a hub, they may just say, we don't offer, you know, it's against our terms of service to do any reviews now or something like that. But I seriously doubt they go away. Oh, thirsty. Okay. Have you using Command Center? Got it last night. Quite amazing. Yeah, I'm super stoked about it, Shane. Yeah. If you notice some of these other tabs I got up here, this is the, where is it? I thought I had it open. Yeah, here's mine. So I just popped a single, that EcoBuilt website that I showed you guys in here earlier. I did find my response time for that site. It's like 18 seconds, which is atrocious. So I actually, in no more time than I've used it, it's giving me something I should act on, which is likely going to be to move that site off to a server that responds much more quickly. But yeah, I'm stoked about it. You know, rank tracking, the keyword research. I haven't even dug into it that much, but yeah, I did quickly kind of look through the features and start kind of clicking through everything I use. Because I'm in the position I'm in with the office hours and the coaching and stuff, I've got memberships to like literally almost everything you can have. You know, I've got Moz, I've got HREFs, I've got Majestic, I've got SEM Rush right there. That's 100, 180, 225. There's $300 I'll be able to essentially get rid of right there. I track my keywords on Microsite Masters. Cost me $70. There's 379. I'm up to, I do my analytics and web traffic with Clicky, which cost me another 30. So I'm up to $400 a month. That'll save me. And just the time, you know, I don't have to click around through a bunch of other things. I'm super excited about it, if you can't tell. So Yeah, I'm sure, you know, we've got training videos I saw. I haven't even gone through these yet, but you know, this link goes to its own page. And so we've got videos, like I said earlier, that Greg and that Greg and Colin put together to talk about how to use it. So I'm stoked about it, but I haven't dug into it too much yet. Okay, Suzanne, thanks for that. So awesome. I have eSilo, but need to get Kraken. Yeah, so this is another thing. So Kraken, there's Kraken and there's vKraken. Kraken, they call it Kraken VOMA, I think, VOMA, Vertical Online Market Analysis, is essentially the research tool that they use for determining what keywords need to go where in your silo structure. vKraken is a plugin that you put on your site that automatically creates new posts every so often based on a search query. So I heard Russell mention on one of their webinars that they might wind up changing the name of one of those just so it's not confusing. But just, you know, for your information, you may know it already. You may have spoken perfectly. But for anybody else on here, Kraken and vKraken are different things. vKraken is a plugin. Kraken is a software it's a keyword analysis tool, for lack of a better term. It's a simplified description, but hopefully that makes sense. All right, Shane, what's the names of the two programs you just mentioned regarding YouTube videos, GSA and what? Yeah, I'm going to drop it in here. So it's in the chat box now, Shane. Should have put Shane after that just so you'd see it, but you'll hear that. Thanks so much for the help again today, Fletch. Much appreciated. Absolutely, bud. All right, Cliff, is it okay to link out to your money sites 2 to 3 times, Google Plus page and other socials all in one PBN post? No, I would not do that, Cliff. You usually want to keep the links from one single post at about 2, at most 3. And if you go to 3, I would definitely make one of those links go to a authority site. So if you were linking out to something on really the market I'm heavy into is something called home performance, since it's energy efficiency kind of things. If I wanted to link out 3 times, I would probably make one of those links go to like the Department of Energy, energy.gov website, and then may make a link to my money site and maybe link to a video that I've created for it. That would be the most I would do from a single post. All right, Shane, did you just get Command Center with the rest of us? Or were you working on testing it before it was released? No, you know, Greg had mentioned something about it because I had talked to him, or David, was it David? I can't remember if it was David or Greg, earlier this year. I was like, I have a background, like I'm talking way back in the background of understanding databases. It was something I did with a previous business that I had. And my spreadsheets have gotten so convoluted with keeping track of all my passwords and links and everything else. I was like, I would be happy to head up the effort to get this done and turn it into a database application because there's a way better way for us to all manage this. And since we're all kind of following the same guidelines, you know, and we're tracking the same things, it would make sense to have something that we could all use. And earlier this year, they were like, we've got something kind of in the works, but it's not ready yet. So that was the most I knew about it until the webinar. So that's why I say, you know, it's kind of, I definitely have some, you know, inside information and things like that. But as much as anything, I'm a member. You know, I'm an OMGer, and I use this stuff to make money for myself. So I'm kind of excited and going through it all with everybody else here. So it's kind of fun. All right, got caught up. It's about normal time for us. We are, yeah, about an hour and a half in. Is that right? Man, this time has flown by. So that being said, if there's any other questions, get those in the chat box. I usually kind of try to give us another few minutes in case anybody has something that, you know, springs to mind at the end of the session, or they just have been kind of holding off to wait till we get caught up on things. So if there are any further questions, please get those in. We'll get those answered before we wrap up, and just kind of take things from there. All right, got something from Neil here. At what frequency would you recommend linking out from a PBN to money sites? Well, it's to a single site, Neil. I recommend probably building no more than a couple links a week, inbound links coming to a single money site if it's a new site that you've registered. So that doesn't necessarily mean that if you had like 10 different money sites and you were going to link out from a single PBN to each of those, I would probably be fine with building even a couple posts a day. So a couple posts a day would give you, just say 2 links, so a couple links per day out from a single PBN would not be a problem. I think I've probably done 2 or 3 posts from a single PBN in a single day, and haven't had any issues with it. So, all right, Cliff, a follow-up question. Should I create a new 300 to 500 word post to power my socials when linking back, or can I just place a link in the footer or sidebar on my PBN? I would create some fresh content for it, Cliff. The footer links are very, very weak. It's the worst place to have a link as far as power and influence goes. Sidebar is a little better, but not much. So those contextual links, we call them, which is a link within a piece of content, are by far the most powerful and influential. So if you're trying to power up a social site or a high domain authority, Web 2.0 or something like that, I would definitely use a fresh piece of content and a post from your PBN for that. All right, Neil, what frequency would you recommend? Oh, that was the same question. I may have hopped over Cliff somehow or another. So, all right, Slav, absolutely, bud. Thanks for being on. Priscilla, you too. Suzanne, very good to have you on today. Yes, absolutely. It's one of those things you just keep working on, and don't get down on yourself when it doesn't seem to click yet, because it will. If you just, maintain, the focus on, the focus really is on understanding, the goals to achieve a certain thing really should be after understanding how to do it. Sometimes you kind of have to do it to understand it. I get that. But as far as accomplishing ranking, the goal should be to understand how to rank first. It goes right back to law of implication stuff. So glad you were on. Hopefully this helped you out today, Suzanne. Janet, thanks a lot, Fletch. See you this weekend. Hey, cool. Yeah, big excitement for that. Last year was a blast. Got a ton of good information, but it was just nice to get to meet everybody face to face. One of the things that I have learned in the world of online marketing, you can actually get to know people very well, but it's hard to know how tall they are. And so that was one of the things that I was kind of like, oh, you're that tall. Oh, you're that tall. Kind of gets covered up in the online world when you're just looking at somebody's face on Facebook or something like that. So anyway, that'll be fun. Pete, thanks for being on, bud. Neil, absolutely. Noel, thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. Again, thank you all for being on. I'll get this video compiled if you need to go back over it. I'll get it over to David tonight. Likely will get posted. Well, I'm sure it'll get posted before the event starts, but the replay will likely be up within 24 hours or so, just kind of depending on how things go. But beyond that, yeah, just look forward to getting to, continue to work with you guys in the Facebook group. If anything really comes up, you can feel free to, personal message me, PM me or something like that on Facebook, or even email if it's a lengthier thing, no big deal. But again, guys, we'll have another session scheduled for most likely Tuesday. For me, it's kind of a good day for me to run my office hours. That'll get scheduled over the weekend, most likely, so that when I get back from Nashville, I get back Monday night. I'll probably try to do an office hours on Tuesday. Most likely Greg will push his Monday office hours to later in the week just because we're still running the event on Monday. But that's how it'll go. So anyway, guys, take care. We'll wrap up, and we'll talk to you all soon.